Hi there, good evening. Hope you had a great Sunday. And now it's time to look forward to the coming week. Welcome back to this week's edition of Looking Forward. This show is about stories that are shaping up over the coming days and weeks. News that is developing and would have consequences for your life and mine and impact our choices. Stories that shape India's and world's politics and economics going forward. So let's get going. Tonight's show packs a punch with 5 stories that you should look forward to this week. Prime Minister Modi announced GST 2.0 reforms from the ramparts of the Red Fort on August 15. The GST Council approved them early this month, and tomorrow is the big day that it becomes a reality. It's a big one for each one of us. Goods are already cheaper. It's going to be a bumper Diwali of super savings and hopefully super spending. Consumption is the secret sauce, as they say, of economic growth. And the Modi government has given it a fillip just ahead of the festive season. Prime Minister Modi made a national address in the afternoon for our perspective talk. Our story number 1 gives you both the numbers and the national mood. Story number 2 is on a very divisive caste survey that the Congress government in Karnataka is all set to roll out over the next fortnight in the state beginning tomorrow. This is the second attempt after the first one failed. The Lingayats are divided. The Vokkaligas are concerned. Yet, the Siddaramaiah government is driving roughshod. You will get the details of what this means. Our story number 3 tonight is on Prime Minister Modi's second visit. Yes, second visit to the Northeast this month. He would have covered 5 of the 8 states in the Northeast by the time he wraps up his Arunachal and Tripura visit tomorrow. He's absolutely focused on making Northeast the gateway of India. Watch tonight about development projects that are going to make both states inch closer to a developed status. And next would be a lowdown on the India-United States trade talks that are back on track after some turbulence. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal is landing in Washington, D.C. tomorrow with his team to make the deal happen. The whole idea is to meet the November deadline so that friends Trump and Modi can meet in New Delhi for the Quad Summit in November. That's story number 4. And finally, the story number 5, the United Nations General Assembly, that big town square of global diplomacy, which began today in New York. The 80th session would see India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to pitch his tent for a week to guide our geopolitical power push at the UN. We shall get the details. Like always, let's begin with the headlines first.
जीएसटी के ये नए रिफॉर्म्स लागू हो रहे हैं। नए स्वरूप में मुख्य रूप से अब सिर्फ 5% और 18% के ही टैक्स स्लैब रहेंगे।
Hours ahead of the rollout of GST 2.0 reforms, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses the nation this evening and says 2 festivals set to begin tomorrow, Navratri and GST Savings Festival. GST 2.0 removes the tax slabs of 12% and 28%, retaining only 5 and 18. These 2 slabs now cover all items and services barring luxury products or sin goods.
हम वो सामान खरीदें जो मेड इन इंडिया हो, जिसमें हमारे देश के नौजवानों की मेहनत लगी हो।
In a big push for Make in India, the Prime Minister said we have to make every home a Swadeshi symbol, decorate every shop with Swadeshi products. He emphasized that supporting local goods boosts self-reliance, strengthens the economy and promotes national pride. Zubin Garg fans gather in large numbers to pay tributes to celebrated singer. Fans in Guwahati lit candles in his memory, mourning the loss of the beloved artist. The singer passed away after a scuba diving accident in Singapore on 19th of September.
इस देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की मां को गाली देने का काम राजद के गुंडे, कांग्रेस के गुंडे, लालू प्रसाद जी के परिवार के इशारे पर गाली देने का काम कर रहे हैं। ये लोकतंत्र के लिए शर्मसार है।
Political row yet again in poll-bound Bihar as BJP alleges that Prime Minister Modi's late mother was abused during an RJD rally in the Vaishali district. The incident occurred in the presence of RJD leader Tejashwi Yadav. This marks the second such allegation in the last fortnight. Amid growing anger over potholes and broken roads in Bengaluru, residents have uniquely taken to the streets by forming a human chain protest to draw the government's attention. A man charged with murder after shooting at New Hampshire Country Club in the United States leaves one dead, at least two injured. The suspect arrested. Welcome back, friends. The big day is here. The rollout of GST 2.0 reforms begins tomorrow. Expected to put rupees 2.5 lakh crores in the kitty of people of India. The poor, the middle classes, the neo-middle classes. The Prime Minister came out with a national address calling it a big savings festival just hours ago. He also gave a clarion call for Atmanirbharta, self-reliance to the nation. The reforms and the tax cut that the government passes on is expected to act as a booster shot for the economy. Already the fastest growing economy in the world, the Modi government's GST bonanza might not just be a kicker for India, but might act as a spur for the global economic activity. Spend, baby, spend is the mantra, as Prime Minister doubles down on his perform, reform and transform slogan.
नवरात्रि के प्रथम दिवस 22 सितंबर को सूर्योदय के साथ ही नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जीएसटी रिफॉर्म्स लागू हो जाएंगे। कल से देश में जीएसटी बचत उत्सव शुरू होने जा रहा है। त्योहारों के इस मौसम में सबका मुंह मीठा होगा। अब गरीब को, न्यू मिडिल क्लास को एक तरह से डबल बोनांजा मिल रहा है।
Festivities are arriving early this year. From FMCG to automobiles, there is something for everyone in the next gen GST reforms kicking in on Monday.
एक आम जनता के लिए इसका बेनिफिट तो होगा, क्योंकि जो कंज्यूमर है उसको पहले जीएसटी का वापस टैक्स क्रेडिट नहीं मिलता था, इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट नहीं मिलता था और वो जीएसटी पे कर रहे थे, लेकिन अब वो नहीं करेंगे, उनको कंज्यूमर को तो अल्टीमेटली फ़ायदा होगा ही होगा इससे।
It is obviously very nice that they have reduced the tax slabs because then obviously the price will go down. So I think it's nice and I think we can buy more stuff now.
Now that the new rate on GST has come, I think कि थोड़ी ठीक रहेगा ये, क्योंकि 18% सुनने में बहुत ज़्यादा लगता था. It's used to scare people off. लेकिन अब ये है कि लोग ज़्यादा डिक्लेयर करेंगे टैक्सेस अपने और पे भी करेंगे खुशी खुशी, और थोड़ा सस्ता भी हो जाएगा सब कुछ. So I think it's a good reform.
The idea is to simplify the complex web of taxes in India.
We looked into what is causing the complexity in the GST, and we found that complexity is arising because of the multiple rates. The existing rates are 5%, 12%, 18% and 28%. that was leading to a lot of disputes, interpretational issues. So first of all, it was thought that rate structure should be simple, and there has to be one standard rate and only one merit rate. And apart from that, certain goods which may be in the nature of sin goods or luxury goods can be subject to 40% special rate. So that was the starting point, and after that, how the goods have to be placed between standard rate or merit rate, that was decided on the basis of how these goods are consumed.
And the aim to power the economy with a consumption boost.
GST 2.0 is just not a tax reform. It's a reset of India's consumption story. It's giving more money in the hands of consumers and also making life simple for the businesses. And this will definitely reset the India growth story, as we have a long plan, we have a vision for Viksit Bharat. I think the first step towards achieving the goal of Viksit Bharat, as far as the consumer is concerned, of course, by bringing many daily use items within 5% tax break. That's more than around 400 items are within that bracket. Either they are tax free or they have a 5% tax on them. I think this is giving more money in the hands of consumer. It will boost the consumption, and it will give more money, it will boost the rural economy. And this particular tax reform will see that in the long run, we will see a lot of growth in the economy.
Middle class is the focus of reforms with a citizen first approach.
आपकी बचत बढ़ेगी और आप अपनी पसंद की चीजों को और ज्यादा आसानी से खरीद पाएंगे। हमारे देश के गरीब, मध्यम वर्गीय लोग, न्यू मिडिल क्लास, युवा, किसान, महिलाएं, दुकानदार, व्यापारी, उद्यमी, सभी को ये बचत उत्सव का बहुत फायदा होगा।
From food items to building a house, it's raining GST savings this festive season. The move is expected to bring down inflation and make daily items for the middle class and poor cheaper.
They will bring down inflation from anything of 0.5% to 1% per annum. Secondly, all consumption classes get a big boost. Food items are becoming very cheap. The ex-MD of Amul, Mr. Sodhi, had mentioned that a 5% reduction in dairy products prices leads to a 4x increase in the consumption parameters for consumers.
Market experts believe that the new Gen GST reforms can show a difference of around 1% in the GDP.
The impact on the economy could be as high as 1% on an annualized basis. So we are looking at a very good festive season, a truly festive season, thanks to the GST 2 reforms that are being unleashed on 22nd September.
While the opposition is raising the issue of revenue loss in their respective state governments, experts say it's temporary, and the benefits far outweigh the minor hiccups.
Medium term to long term, I guess that there'll be some strain on the revenue, as we see the reports that around 48,000 crore revenue will be impacted. However, we also see that there'll be boost in the consumption. When more people buy the products and more companies come into the GST tax net, we'll see that in the short term, of course, there will be some impact, but in the long term, we believe that once the consumption is enhanced, then ultimately there won't be any impact on the revenue.
Because you are reducing 4-tier to 2-tier system, it reduces a lot of compliance burden, it introduces simplicity. And also at the same time, it removes the classification issue. Just for an example, if I'm talking about a product which has different HSN classification at 5%, 12%, 18%. Now reducing the overall classification into two structure, it also reduces the disputes related to classification, which was one of the major tax disputes in the GST. So that's a welcoming step.
Sources in the government say it's just the beginning.
There may be more procedural simplification in pipeline. One could be that in return filing, presently the outward liability get auto-populated from their GST1 return, and likewise the input tax credit which is available to them get also auto-populated. And the government has provided two instruments. One instrument in the form of GST1A to amend the outward liability. Similarly, another instrument is in the form of invoice management facility on the inward side. So if these two instruments are used by taxpayer, so then the auto population will be exactly how they want to file the return.
With the new GST reforms going into the foundation, India now looks forward to a self-reliance moment.
देश की स्वतंत्रता को जैसे स्वदेशी के मंत्र से ताकत मिली, वैसे ही देश की समृद्धि को भी स्वदेशी के मंत्र से ही शक्ति मिलेगी। आज जाने अनजाने हमारी रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में बहुत सी विदेशी चीजें जुड़ गई है, हमें पता तक नहीं है। हमारे जेब में कंघी विदेशी है कि देसी, हमें पता ही नहीं है। हमें इनसे भी मुक्ति पानी होगी। हम वो सामान खरीदें जो मेड इन इंडिया हो।
This Diwali, Bharat truly embraces reform, perform and transform.
एक बार फिर आप सबको नवरात्रि की, जीएसटी बचत उत्सव की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
This Diwali, GST Wali, that seems to be the message from the Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on, the Siddaramaiah government is at it again. Beginning tomorrow, it is holding yet another caste survey, euphemistically calling it socio-economic survey. This after an earlier failed attempt that yielded results so bad that the Congress government in Karnataka had to bury the report at a cost of about 550 crores. But it's not about money. It's about the divisive effects on the society in Karnataka. Lingayats are split down the middle. The community's leaders are also split along political lines between the BJP and the Congress, and even within the respective parties. Siddaramaiah cabinet had to defer a final call twice before deciding to go ahead. The Vokkaligas are unhappy. The Hindus would stand divided. The agenda does not seem that innocuous. Look for yourself and decide.
Karnataka government is gearing up for a tedious exercise over the next 15 days. They are calling it socio-economic survey, but is actually a caste survey that the Congress government has been trying to conduct for years. In 2015, Siddaramaiah government spent 165 crore rupees to conduct a similar socio-economic survey, only to dump the report after massive protests from the Lingayat and Vokkaliga community. Their major contention that the numbers have been distorted to show a decline in their population. The controversial caste census led to the infighting within the Congress party. Congress party scrapped the Karnataka government's caste census on June 10th. When the centre announced the caste census in May this year, Rahul Gandhi could barely hold his excitement to claim the credit.
Under the leadership of our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, the Cabinet Committee of Political Affairs has decided today, that is 30th April 2025, that caste enumeration should be included in the forthcoming census. This demonstrates that a government is committed to the values and interests of a society and country.
पार्लियामेंट में हमने कहा था कि कास्ट सेंसस को हम करवा के छोड़ेंगे और हमने ये भी कहा था कि 50% की जो कैप है, जो आर्टिफिशियल दीवार लगा रखी है, उसको भी हम तोड़ के हटाएंगे। पता नहीं क्या हुआ, सडनली 11 साल बाद नरेंद्र मोदी जी कहते थे कि सिर्फ 4 जाते हैं, सडनली कास्ट सेंसस का अनाउंसमेंट किया।
1.75 lakh teachers in Karnataka will reportedly be engaged in the survey, which is set to begin from September 22nd, despite the differences within the Karnataka cabinet. The Siddaramaiah government is looking forward to collect data from the people on their social, economic and educational status.
Caste survey and survey of people survey started by the central government only. Central government also wanted to start this survey by 2026. But we are doing this this year from September 22nd to October 8th or 9th, till 8th or 9th, to know the social, economic problems of the people of our country who belongs to various communities. It's not the resistance.
The survey is scheduled to begin from September 22nd. While Siddaramaiah is pushing for the survey, saying that the survey will map the social, economic and educational status. DK Shiv Kumar, who is reportedly not on the same page, is heading to Delhi.
ಯಾರನ್ನೂ ಭಾಗ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಆಗಲಿ, ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಆಗಲಿ, ನಾವು ಜನನ ಸಮಾಜನ ಯಾರನ್ನೂ ಭಾಗ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅವರ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯಗಳನ್ನ ಯಾರು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡೋಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇದೆ. ನೂರಾರು ಸಮುದಾಯದವರು ಬಂದು ನಾವು ಇಂಥ ಸಮುದಾಯಕ್ಕೆ ಸೇರಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ನಮ್ಮದು ಪ್ರತ್ಯೇಕವಾದಂಥ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅವರು ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಿಂದೇನೂ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಇವತ್ತು ಆಗಿದೆ. ಆದರೆ ನಾವು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅನೇಕ ನಮ್ಮ ಸದಸ್ಯರು ಕೆಲವು ಅಪೇಕ್ಷೆಗಳನ್ನು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಆಕ್ಷೇಪಣೆಗಳನ್ನು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕರು ಕೂಡ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ನಾವು ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ತಲೆ ಕೆಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನ್ಯಾಯವನ್ನು ಒದಗಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದಲೇ ಈ ಒಂದು ಸಮೀಕ್ಷೆಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಈ ವಿಚಾರನ ನಾವು ಚೀಫ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ತಿಳಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ಗೇನು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಾವು ಮೇಜರ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್.
In fact, the matter of disagreement in the cabinet even reached the High Command, leading to an intervention from the regular mediator Randeep Surjewala. In the center of this controversy is the bizarre categorization of castes, where Hindu castes are suffixed with Christian. There is mention of a Vokaliga Christian, Lambani Christian and even Brahmin Christian.
We have resolved that the drop down, which is only for our internal consumption, will not prompt certain castes which were perceived to be something which is not acceptable to certain sections of the people. But however, those castes remain in this system, and anybody out of his free will can always notify to the surveyor that he belongs to such and such caste.
Hindu groups are objecting that the survey is aimed to divide Hindu community from the vote bank.
If you look at this caste lists, it's completely they are dividing entire Lingayat community. So I am completely opposing this. I am not agreeing with this caste list. First, they have to remove all these names, make one community. Minority committee has to create one committee, and they have to, they have to declare through the newspapers. Then let it take time. Why you are doing so urgency? What is the motive behind this? What political agenda you have?
The BJP is also attacking the Congress government, alleging that the survey is a tool to divide Hindus and back infiltrators.
See, if you look at the caste survey exercise which the Siddaramaiah government is embarking upon, it is only trying to divide the Hindu society. Because the objective is very clear, divide the Hindu society. And if you look at how they have even gone about doing it, they have wanted to include certain Hindu caste names and attribute it to different religions. We are really afraid whether are they wanting to have these infiltrators who have come into India by giving them these new caste names where we will not be able to find out as to what they were. The taxpayers' money is being looted under the guise of this survey.
BJP also argues that the caste survey cannot be completed within 15 days as the state would also be celebrating the Navratri.
They are given only 15 days. वो 15 दिन भी नवरात्रि का समय आ रहा है, इसलिए घर में कोई नहीं रहेंगे, पूजा को जाएंगे, बाहर रहेंगे, छुट्टी है, लोगों को छुट्टी भी है, इसलिए ये सर्वे ठीक से नहीं होगा। सर्वे को हमको 3 महीने देना चाहिए।
Echoing the sentiments, Vokaliga community has urged the Congress government to postpone the survey as the short time frame would make it impractical.
ಸಮಯವನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಮುಂದೂಡಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾಮಿಗಳು ಹೇಳಿದರು. ಸುಮಾರು 45 ದಿನಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಮುಂದೂಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ 15 ದಿನಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ದಿನಗಳನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಸಮಗ್ರವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಹೋಲಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಸೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೂಗಿಗೆ ಬಹುಶಃ ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಬೆಲೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ, ಗೌರವವನ್ನು ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ.
BJP is also demanding that the survey be done online. This as there was massive controversy over the caste survey process last time. Videos showed that the stickers were pasted at the houses of survey being completed without any survey actually being conducted. Warning the Congress government, JDS has said that if there are irregularities in the survey, they are prepared to fight. With divided cabinet, can Karnataka government fix its mistakes this time, or will this exercise only end up flaring the politics of caste in the state?
All right, friends, on Monday, that is tomorrow, Prime Minister Modi will land in Itanagar, the capital of India's sunrise state, Arunachal Pradesh, to launch as many as 13 projects worth over 5,000 crore rupees. He would then travel to Tripura to inaugurate the redeveloped Mata Tripura Sundari temple complex. This is his second visit to the northeast this month, underscoring how seriously he takes the region and how assiduously he is working to bring that part of India into national mainstream. The projects span infrastructure, national security, energy, and ease of living for our brothers and sisters in Arunachal Pradesh. From a trans-state highway to hydropower plants, from connectivity to communication. It's not just look east, it's act east.
After connecting Mizoram to the national rail network just last week, Prime Minister Modi is back in the northeast on September 22nd, his second visit this month. This occasion launching projects worth 5,100 crore rupees and more in Arunachal Pradesh and Tripura.
ही बहुत महत्वपूर्ण कह सकते हैं हम हिंदी में कि अरुणाचल जैसे जिस तरह का लैंडस्केप है नॉर्थ ईस्ट का, स्पेशली अरुणाचल प्रदेश का, वहां पर फ्रंटियर हाईवे आना वो बहुत बड़ी बात है, स्पेशली जो मिलिट्री डिपार्टमेंट्स है, जो डिफेंस है, उनके ट्रांसपोर्टेशन को लेकर, या फिर जो हमारे यहाँ के लोग हैं उन्हें भी, क्योंकि बहुत सारे ऐसे जगह है अरुणाचल पर जो एक गांव से दूसरे गांव को जोड़ता है, जो ब्रिज तब बनता है जब हाईवे आता है। ओके, अगर वो जो नदी होता है, अगर नदी से हम पार करना चाहते हैं तो बैम्बूज का ब्रिज बना हुआ होता है, उससे ट्रांसपोर्ट करना, ले जाना, स्पेशली मिलिट्री के लिए, और जो गांव खेड़े के लोग होते हैं उनके लिए भी बहुत ही तकलीफ होता है। तो ऑफ कोर्स हाईवे इज वेरी सिग्निफिकेंट फॉर अरुणाचल।
By the time Prime Minister Modi is back in the national capital after the Monday visit, he would have hopped to 5 out of 8 northeast states this month alone. Underscoring his government's drive and focus on India's northeast.
For the past 11 years, we have been working for the development of the Northeast. This region is becoming the growth engine of India. Friends, over the years, many states of the Northeast have been put on the rail map of India. For the first time, rural roads and highways, mobile connectivity and internet connections, electricity, tap water and LPG connections. The government of India has worked hard to strengthen all kinds of connectivity.
In every river valley, which the Congress government has left out for the mercy of the God. But after Modi ji came to power, we have got 6 valleys, highways up to the border, make one line. So it is quite stable, and we have got sufficient highways in the state from east-west, from the highways also that has been already completed. And in future, we'll have a frontier highway along the Mekong line.
The biggest one this time is the foundation stone laying for the Frontier Highway project that cuts across the sunrise state of Arunachal Pradesh.
See, China has been very aggressively constructing roads, airports along China border, Arunachal Pradesh border. That is why few years ago, Arunachal Frontier Highway, which will run parallel to McMahon Line along Indo-China border, was planned. See, its importance is it is running parallel to McMahon Line, which is the demarcation between India and China's border. That is why this road will facilitate the movement of defense forces along the Indo-China border.
We have got airport and we have got advanced landing ground in the state. So, in the security point of view and in the respect of the state, we have got sufficient development on the projects, on the pipeline projects also, and many roads have been completed.
The proposed highway would run parallel to the McMahon line from Bomdila in West Kemang district to Vijayanagar in Chentalang district. The ambitious project would not only connect all parts of Arunachal Pradesh but also give boost to the national security.
हमारे सामने में हमारे बॉर्डर बहुत सारे इंटरनेशनल बॉर्डर्स के साथ शेयर करते हैं और ऑफ कोर्स जब हाईवे अभी अभी मैंने कहा कि हाईवे जब आ जाता है ट्रांसपोर्टेशन मिलिट्री के बहुत भारी भारी चीजें और जैसे कि आप सभी को ये भी पता है कि हाइड्रो प्रोजेक्ट्स भी है अरुणाचल पर तो उसको लेकर भी जब बड़े बड़े सामान ले जाने पड़ते हैं तो और उस चीज से मदद मिलता है हाईवे से ही मदद मिलता है ट्रांसपोर्टेशन से ही मदद मिलता है हमारे डिफेंस को तो ऑफ कोर्स अगर सिक्योरिटी चीजों में अगर हम बात करें तो हाईवे का तो बहुत बड़ा वैल्यू होता है यहाँ पर क्योंकि उसकी वजह से ही हमारे जो इंडियन आर्मीज के आर्मी है उनके लिए भी तकलीफ नहीं होता है बहुत ही सुविधा होता है
PM Modi would also launch the second phase of the Vibrant Villages program, a project aimed at improving the ease of living in 122 border villages in Arunachal Pradesh.
The Government of India has, in its second phase launch, the Vibrant Village program aimed at development of 122 villages strategically located. 67 villages are located along Indo-Myanmar border, 52 along Indo-Bhutan border. See, all facilities will be provided to the villages. Health, education, road communication. Now what more is needed? So certainly people will love to stay in the border villages. And they, in fact, are the first guardian of our border.
Once completed, these villages, 67 located along India-Myanmar border and 55 along the India-Bhutan border with Arunachal Pradesh would get all-weather roads, 4G telecom network and 24/7 electrification. While still in Itanagar, Prime Minister would also lay foundation stone of 2 mega hydropower projects, both in the Siom River sub-basin.
Prime Minister is coming tomorrow, so a lot of activities, developmental activities will be take place and more than 1,200 crores will be launched tomorrow. Then more activities will be smoothly functioning in the state. And for your information, Honorable Prime Minister is going to lay 2 mega project of hydropower project in the Siom River Basin, which is 249 megawatts and 186 megawatts in the Siomi districts of Arunachal Pradesh, which is just close to the McMahon lines.
And finally, in a project of strategic import, Prime Minister would also lay foundation stone of the state-of-the-art convention centre in Tawang.
During the Congress days, they said that the government of India should not construct road towards the Tibetan McMahon line borders. That was a wrong concept. They want to keep buffer zones. And if government of India and if state government of Arunachal Pradesh construct road towards the border, they presume that if anything happened like 62, the Chinese force will use that constructed road. It was a wrong concept. So after Modi came to power in 2014, all the river valleys has been connected up to the border with 2-lane roads and all long bridges, all connectivities. Earlier, people living in the border, they used to use the Chinese telecom service. Today, all our border area, border administrative circles, and the border villages has been connected with our telecom services.
From Arunachal Pradesh, Prime Minister would travel to Tripura and dedicate to the nation at the redeveloped Mata Tripura Sundari Temple Complex at Matabari. The ancient temple, one of the 51 Shakti Peeths in the country, has undergone a major facelift on the lines of Kashi Vishwanath Corridor and Ujjain Mahakal Temple.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी 22 तारीख को त्रिपुरा में भी आ रहे हैं। वहाँ पर 51 शक्तिपीठ जो है वर्ल्ड में, तो इसमें एक शक्तिपीठ त्रिपुरा में भी है, माता त्रिपुरी सुंदरी मंदिर। तो वहाँ का जो है प्रसाद प्रकल्प से हम लोग वहाँ माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के इच्छा के अनुसार वहाँ पर हम लोग उसको डेवलप किए, उनका इनॉग्रेशन भी करेंगे और वहाँ माता त्रिपुरी सुंदरी मंदिर में उन्होंने पूजा भी करेंगे वहाँ पर।
During just one day in Northeast on September 22nd, Prime Minister would have dedicated to the nation 13 projects spanning development, national security and tourism. Another visit, another proof, if one was needed, that Prime Minister Modi is focused on mainstreaming of the Northeast at a fast clip.
Moving on to another very important development we are tracking for you. Tonight, in fact, all eyes are on Washington, D.C., where Commerce and Industries Minister Piyush Goyal lands to pick up threads of India-US trade talks. These are likely going to be the most tense trade negotiations given the frost the talks are coming out of. There's still a lot of ground to cover on tariffs, trade, agriculture. Here's what you can expect from the India-US Washington Roundtable that begins tomorrow.
We've made a lot of progress, and as you know, we put a 50% tariff on India on oil. They're the second largest. They're very close to China in terms of the purchase of oil from Russia. I'll always be friends with Modi. He's great. Prime Minister, he's great.
दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी आबादी वाले देश को आत्मनिर्भर बनना ही होगा.
Washington, D.C. is bracing for a high-stakes huddle. Union Commerce and Industries Minister Piyush Goyal is flying into the United States. The visit comes at a time when trade tensions are running high, tempers are flaring, and the stakes could not be any bigger. This is not just another round of bureaucratic meetings. This is about India standing up to protect its biggest export strength, its people, its tech talent, its services economy. A $100,000 annual fee slapped on H-1B visas, a shock executive order. Thousands of jobs, billions in revenue, and the future of India's global workforce mobility are suddenly at stake. For New Delhi, the message is clear. These talks are about more than tariffs. They're about trust and ties.
US discussions with the assistant USTR happened 2 days back. They were productive and are working on the right track. The US relationship is a very strong, comprehensive, strategic partnership between two friendly countries.
And as Piyush Goyal lands in Washington, the question is blunt. Will America listen? Or will India be forced to push back with countermeasures? Beyond the rhetoric, what's on the table is one of the most critical trade discussions in years. The ministerial level talks scheduled for September 22nd bring together senior officials from both sides in a bid to break the logjam and push forward the long-pending India-US trade agreement. India and the US are already bound by a deep economic partnership. Bilateral trade touch $200 billion in 2024 to 2025, making Washington New Delhi's largest trading partner. Yet, beneath the impressive numbers lie long-standing disputes over tariffs, digital trade, agriculture, and intellectual property.
The Indian side stuck to its red lines. So the red lines, as you know, are greater American access to Indian agriculture, dairying, and our products which we do not want. That means the things like soya, corn, etc. So the ones which use the mutated seeds, GMOs as we call them.
The upcoming meeting is expected to cover exactly those flashpoints. Market access for goods and services, rules governing digital trade, stronger protections for intellectual property, and most importantly, tariff barriers on agricultural products. Each of these has stalled negotiations in the past. Each of these will test the political will of both sides. The timing could not be more significant. Just days ago, Brandon Lynch, the Assistant U.S. Trade Representative for South and Central Asia, was in New Delhi. His talks with India's chief trade negotiator, Rajesh Agarwal, restarted a process that had been stalled since late August. Lynch's expertise in agriculture and manufacturing was critical in preparing the ground, but no breakthrough was achieved. And while the tariffs and trade rules dominate headlines, the H-1B visa fee hike will remain the elephant in the room.
The country would rather not have to pay $100,000, but they'd rather, how do you do that? You hire Americans. So there's an incentive to hire American. But there may be instances where it's better off doing through expertise or whatever it may be. But they're both unbelievable, whether it's a gold card or anything else that we talked about today.
India has already conveyed its opposition, but whether Washington is willing to discuss or reconsider the measure remains uncertain. There is also talk of a mini trade deal, a limited package that could see tariff rollbacks on selected goods, incremental access for American farm products, and concessions for India in services. It would not resolve every dispute, but it would send a political signal that both sides are moving forward. Even as all eyes are on the trade negotiations, one questions what really changed between last month and now. Former Commerce Secretary Ajay Dua tells you about that X factor.
The fact that Mr. Trump realized that Russia cannot be browbeaten into negotiating with Ukraine is one. And second, also the fact that at the SCO meeting in China, which was attended by Prime Minister Modi, he found that India is not isolated and that India can trump up the support from Russia as well as China.
PM Modi's quiet diplomacy at the recent SCO summit may have created the right environment for this thought. And economist Ved Jain also believes that to be a defining moment in the bilateral stare-down in which Trump eventually blinked first.
India as a sovereign country, India's leadership, the Prime Minister will like to take a step which is best suited. And that's why I believe there was I think, high-profile meeting in the China, and then meeting with the Russian President Putin, China's Xi, and then all those meetings taking place, all those discussions going on, and then the pressure on the America that yes, why are you bullying India? Now, India is not that small country. You can do whatever you want to think about it. India has got other partners, and other countries are equally willing to move forward in India and work together with India.
His outreach to global leaders, including signaling cooperation with Washington, paved the way for Goel's visit to carry real weight. So what can be expected in Washington? First, sharper conversations on tariffs in steel, aluminium, and agriculture. Second, frameworks for digital trade and cross-border data flows. Third, a possible roadmap on intellectual property protections. Fourth, and most politically sensitive, whether Trump's visa order finds space in the agenda. September 22nd could well decide whether India and the US inch closer to a new era of economic trust, or whether old disputes and new executive orders derail the story once again. The world's eyes will be on Washington, and Piyush Goel's delegation carries not just files and talking points, but the weight of India's economic ambitions and the hope that America is finally ready to listen.
All right, friends, the last one tonight. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will address the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York on September 28. As the world grapples with escalating conflicts and a fractured global order, the UNGA, themed Better Together, faces scrutiny over its relevance amid unresolved crises in Europe and West Asia. India's economic growth is underscoring New Delhi's pivotal role in shaping a stable world order. Here's a look on what to expect from this session of the UNGA, which kick-started today in New York.
The 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly opened today under the theme Better Together, 80 years and more for peace, development and human rights.
80 years ago, from the ashes of war, the world planted a seed of hope.
La première Assemblée des Nations Unies.
Declaration of Human Rights.
Respect every single human being.
The theme suggests a sense of awareness in the United Nations that there is a need for comprehensive action to keep parties together when the world seems to be falling apart. A stark division of camp politics is already visible after China's muscle flexing during the SCO summit. In the 80th session, the UNGA has more to answer for its failure.
In this context, we absolutely need leaders to come here and to turn the tide, to come here and understand that international cooperation is vital in a moment like this, to come here and do the negotiations and the mediations that are necessary to at least create hope for peace in some of the situations we are facing.
As the UN grapples for relevance, issues pertaining to the speech by Palestinian President amid cancellation of visa by Donald Trump has garnered headlines. India has voted in favor of UNGA resolution permitting Palestinian President to deliver a virtual address next week.
Our position on this conflict has been clear and consistent. We have articulated this several times. We unequivocally condemned the terror attacks on Israel on 7th October 2023. We condemn the loss of civilian lives in the conflict. We call for an immediate ceasefire and immediate and unconditional release of all hostages.
As the United Kingdom and Canada recognize Palestine as a state, there's a speculation that France, Australia and 15 other countries are set to follow suit as the United States and Israel attempt to fend off. The UNGA has also failed to realize a solution for the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Geopolitics watchers are also keenly eyeing a meet between Zelensky and Trump next week in New York in a bid to persuade the United States to join a security guarantee framework supported by Ukraine and its European allies. Apart from resolution on the endless wars, a lot of global chatter has also been about Prime Minister Modi not visiting the UNGA and External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar going in to represent India at the 80th session.
The Prime Minister would like to do anything of that sort. He would like the relations to settle down, and we have seen that since the time the decision was taken that the Prime Minister is not going and it will be Dr. Jaishankar who will be representing India at the UNGA, I think there have been several other developments also. For instance, the removal of the waiver from the Chabahar port in Iran, and that has a direct impact as far as India is concerned. And much more importantly, the announcement yesterday that there will be a visa fee of $100,000 for every new application of H-1B visas.
On the prospective cooling off of China's contention for India's permanent membership at the UNSC and Trump's irritation with BRICS, Einar Tengen had a take.
I don't think they object to a permanent membership. That might have changed, assuming that India is sincere about cooperating with the Global South, with BRICS, etc. But I doubt that they would be in favor of a permanent seat with a veto attached to it.
Despite claims of an elephant-dragon tango, New Delhi is treading cautiously with China but is also balancing ties with the United States. This is what Peter Kuznick had to say about India's firm hand on the United States as well as the leadership of Global South, which warrants a seat at the high tables of the Security Council.
India is not going to play the West's game when it comes to global alignments. India is a member of the Quad, but the Quad has become less of a military organization and more of an economic one. With Modi and Putin holding hands, and then the two of them getting together with Xi Jinping, in many ways represents the face of the future.
Speaking about what to expect from External Affairs Minister's speech, experts suggest that the following will be India's memo to the world.
While addressing UNGA, the EM will most likely raise the question of sustainable peace in the world, thereby referring to Israel-Hamas war and Russia-Ukraine war. Not only that, he will also mention that non-trade barriers or non-trade measures are being taken.
As United Nations grapples for relevance, listen in to what Ambassador J.K. Tripathi had to say about reforms in the institution. Former diplomat Ashok Sajanhar put his bets on India asserting itself as the only ray of hope in the global turmoil. Amid all speculations, earlier clip of External Affairs Minister's speech and sharp comments against terrorism and the ongoing wars have caught the attention.
Terrorism is antithetical of everything that the world stands for. All its forms of and manifestations must be resolutely opposed. The sanctioning of global terrorists by the United Nations should also not be impeded for political reasons.
As External Affairs Minister is bound to speak on September 27th at the UNGA floor, India is seen as a beacon of hope and a stable global order. Increasingly, the road to world peace goes through New Delhi.
विश्व में शांति, स्थिरता और समृद्धि के लिए दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी आबादी वाले देश को आत्मनिर्भर बनना ही होगा.
All eyes hence will be on External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar's speech as he makes a case for a new global order with India as a primary actor in its shaping.